All right, I mentioned for the last couple of videos about to do some price shopping, so we're actually going to be on Amazon. Amazon is actually a very good place to purchase components. I don't know if I would purchase entire computers through Amazon. Some people would just prefer to go down to a Best Buy or a Walmart or somewhere and buy it in person, but you can buy entire computers. Go into maybe to a Dell website and buy into there. But let's look at parts. We've talked a lot about CPUs. We've talked a lot about memory. We've talked a lot about hard drives and SSDs. So I just want you to see some brands, some prices, both as the components themselves and as entire packages. So we may look at Best Buy for the packages, and we'll look at Amazon for prices of CPUs. So what better way to start? Type in the word CPU. And you're welcome to search along with me on your computer, and if you have some curious to what else is out there for you to search. Let's look over here. Just don't start browsing. Amazon, of course, gives you some filters that we can filter our results down because there's 2,000 results. Let's look at, let's say you're looking for CPU and you're looking for, well, let's see, the first thing you want to know is do you want Intel or AMD. So let's say we were looking for an Intel processor. All right. Let's say you've been told that you really highly recommend getting a dual core because you don't need a quad or anything else. Let's just say dual core. And let's see, is there anything else we want to filter that I think is important here? Let's get the fastest one. So let's go 3.5 to 4. That's the second fastest group. So let's put a check mark there. And so here's some. This is Intel box Pentium. It's $80. Here's one that's $119. Here's one that is around 82. This one's 129, 179. You're thinking, wow, it's getting a lot more expensive. Well, that's because that dual core is kind of limiting, which is fine if you don't need more dual core. Let's look at a little higher end one. So bottom line is 60, 70, 80, $120 kind of for a dual core. If we go up to an i7, those are nice processors. Let's look at i7. Did I uncheck that by accident? Nope. Okay, i7. So these are i7. Uh-oh, price jumped up. $349. Now, let's just stop there for a moment because there's a not a pet peeve, but something that you really have to know. People are going out and wanting to have a very fast computer that they're going to love to use for years and years and years, and they want to spend $349 on their entire computer. So if you're talking about fast computers, ones that will work very well for years to come, now, no, you don't have to spend $349, but know that it's not going to be a $349 computer because over half of that should be your processor. Let's say 150 at minimum. So try not to get in the mentality of shopping for that 250, 350, 399 computer. They just won't last you, for years and years and years. You'll feel like you want to throw it away and get something new after a few years. So, but you don't have to buy this one. This is a 9700. This is a very fast computer. In fact, let's look it up. I told you don't want to buy anything without comparison shopping on its price. There's an i7 9700K, and that one gets a score of 17,000. So it's way faster than my computer. And by the way, they have the price here at $364. Now, one thing they do on this website is they kind of do a division. The score divided by the price. That gives you kind of a score of 47. That means that, obviously a faster computer is going to be more expensive, but what if a slow computer is expensive? Then that would be a horrible score or it'd be a very low score because it'd be a high price divided by a high price. So let's look at a couple other items here. Where'd my Amazon window go? See, this is my problem. I have too many windows open and I actually can't even find the Amazon window. Oh, there it is. Okay. Wow. This one jumped up. This is $588. I don't think that's actually a fair price. I think that's an old processor. So we're going to kind of ignore that one. That one's also an old processor because it says renewed, and that number is very low. The one I mentioned earlier in the video, or a couple of videos ago, was the i9 9900K. This is a really nice CPU. Unfortunately, it's also a, how expensive is it? It's $485 just for the CPU, not all the other components that you need to buy for it. So 400. This one's a little bit cheaper, $450. So generally speaking, now I've given you some high-end ones and some low-end ones. How about an AMD 3600X? This is a very good CPU, very good CPU. It's $239, and it will last you for years. By the way, let's see how fast it is. The Ryzen, you see how I'm just typing in the CPU, whoop, 3600X is what I meant to type, and I'm just kind of comparing it to these other processors. Wow, that's a 20,000, and it's less expensive than the Intel. And it's also got a very good single core. The reason it has 6 cores versus 4 cores, so that's why it gets such a high score. So that's a very good price and a very fast. So if you were to build a computer around that one, it would be a very good for games, very good for video, very good for just about anything you threw at it. But yes, $239 just for the CPU. So let's shop now for memory. So we talked about, notice that I'm only looking at Intel and AMD and the CPUs because it's really all we care about. But memory, let's type computer RAM. Would probably be a good way to search for that. And here's a piece of memory. It's a 16 gig. It's, again, don't worry about all these other numbers. Now, if you were actually buying this to build a computer, yes, you got to make sure you have the right type of memory. But for my class, 16 gig. I've never heard of Timetech. Never heard of that. Let's look at some of these brands over here. Do they have? Oh, they don't have any brands. In fact, these are CPUs. Here we go. Kingston. Remember that was one of the brands in your list from earlier. Corsair. Here is 16 gigs. Now, one popular way of selling memory is to do them in pairs, 2 8s or 16 total. That's $80. So let's say we were buying this for our computer. We have 250 in the AMD CPU. We have 80 here. So we're in the $300 range for our computer, and we just have the memory and the CPU. Let's see. Is there any? They don't. Amazon is not really designed as the best for shopping for. Well, let's do it this way: PC components, and then internal components, and we're looking for memory right here. This would be better. Okay, good. Corsair, crucial, Corsair, Samsung. You probably know them for their TVs and their phones. Corsair, crucial. Prices you can see are all generally in the, let's see, 8 gigs only $28.99. That's also not a name brand. Some people like the fancier looking memory. Oh, another thing that you really have to understand that's popular nowadays. Let's see, do these have, I don't see this on here. They have LEDs just to decorate them. I don't see any. Oh, here we go. So this is RGB memory. Does the colors make it run faster? No. Does it make it store more? No. But it looks cool. So they have, and you can program these to actually turn whatever color you want and to cycle through colors. But I mean, it's more expensive for 16. So that's a little much for memory. You can, when you can get, oh wow, this is a good deal. Well, no, it's not a good deal. That's 64 gigs for, that's not a good price at all. Sometimes you have Apple memory. Okay, so that's just a quick look. You can see prices are in the 60, 70, 80, 90, $100, depending on, of course, how much memory you're buying. But if you recall, I highly recommend it at least 8. And if you can go for 16, I think that makes for a great great computer. So, but yeah, 8's fine for most people. This is not enough. You would never want to buy a computer with just 4. That, yes, it's $22. Yes, it's going to be less expensive, but you know, for, let's see, is this how much is this? This is 8 gigs. Because you may not be seeing. Okay, you can't see my cursor, so you can't see what I'm pointing at. This one's 8 gigs for $38. So spend $16 more. You'll definitely appreciate that in the long run. Hard drives. So let's go back to PC components. Let's look at internal components. And now we have two different options here. We have hard drives and we have SSDs. So let's look at hard drives. I think they lump them all together. So here are those remember the brands I mentioned earlier? Seagate, Western Digital, Seagate, Seagate, Western Digital, Seagate, 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 Seagate. So these are all Seagate drives. So here's a 4 terabyte, $66. So kind of similar price as the memory. We have 2 terabytes for $95. Now, why is it so expensive? It has solid state hybrid. It has some solid state memory, some platters in there. So that's why it's a little more expensive. That's not actually that very popular. Most people are not buying these types of drives anymore. So that's a 1 terabyte. That's a little expensive for only $45, but you have a 1 terabyte, 2 terabytes, 54. This has always been the problem with hard drives is for $9 you can double your size. So why would you buy this for $9? For the price of one meal at McDonald's, you have twice the storage space for the next 3 years of your computer. It's just kind of a no-brainer. And then they jump up a little quicker, but here's one for like $25 more. From this one, you can double again. So you can very quickly go up to 4 terabytes. So that's a look at hard drives. Now SSDs, let's go back and look at SSDs. Do they have that on this screen? No. So let's go back another screen. They should have SSDs, internal solid state drives. And Samsung is the leader in solid state drives. They're the fastest, most popular brand. You pay more for them. Now look at the price: 500 gigs for $86. That was more than the price of a 4 terabyte on traditional platter-based hard drives. So you can see whether you're sacrificing capacity in order to get the speed. So now here we have a 240 for $31. Now just to let you know, we put 240 gig drives in the computer lab. On each computer, a solid state 240. In fact, we put, let's see if I can find the one we put in there. It was made by a company called SanDisk. I don't see them in here. But anyway, I think it was close to $90 something for a 256. So now you can see they've come down to $30 and $40. This is for a 500 gigs. You can get large SSDs, but they're much more expensive. Let's look at let's look at 2 terabytes. If you want a 2 terabyte SSD, that's only a 500 gig. Here we go, $279. So that's going to be very expensive, but that's a lot of storage space. But if you only had, let's say, a laptop that only had space for 1 drive, I wouldn't go with 2 terabytes, but maybe a 1 terabyte for $130 may be worth it, because it's you can't add a traditional hard drive. So and then real quickly, I know this is dragging on, but let me show you the M.2s. I'm not sure if they have a separate category for them. I don't see a separate, so let's just type in M.2s real quick up here. So here we have a 250 gig M.2 drive. Remember, these are much faster than solid states for $47. Now, remember, some computers will not accept these style because this is for machines built in the last couple of years. So if you're buying one brand new or buying a laptop, check to see if it has this style memory, because you can get a lot faster performance for not a whole lot more. Here's a 500 gig for only $65. So now that's components, memory, hard drive, and CPUs. Now I'm going to flip over to Best Buy. This is probably more practical. Most people are not building their own computer from parts. I just wanted you to see how the CPU was a component of the overall price and how the memory was a component of the overall price. Let's look at computers, and I'm not endorsing Best Buy, but hey, at least they're local. You could drive over and pick one up. Let's look at, let's see, computers and tablets. Computers, let's see, that's components. Let's see, where are my computers? Oh, here we go. Desktop. I'm going to look for laptop. Most students tend to be looking for laptops for college, so let's just look at them. See, this is where we, when you see cheap laptops, I just get nervous. We'll look at Windows. We'll talk about Mac in a future time. All right, let's just grab one and just look at the first one. Well, these are a little different because they're Surface Pros. The biggest factor in a laptop that you purchase is the CPU, the memory, and the hard drive. Secondary to that would be things like the size of the screen, touch, the style of the keyboard, webcam, other things. But as far as the performance, that's where I would look first. Now, here's a very good example here. We have two laptops that popped up on the screen, and the average person goes right to the $299 machine. Why would I consider $699 when I can get a $299 computer? Well, let's start looking at that. First of all, we have an i3. Now, that doesn't tell you anything, so let's click on it and let's get more. Let's get the actual processor. That's not the actual processor. That's just part of the processor name. So let's scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, specifications, and does it tell me? Okay, it's the i3-7100U. This is actually very similar to the processor in the Skull computers. Now remember, I had to go lower than I wanted to on the Skull computers because I had to buy 24 of them. Let's go back to our pass markup here and let's look at this CPU. I would do this for every single laptop you're considering buying, and it scores a 3766. Now, let me remind you some of the other numbers that we've been seeing. Now, let me pause for a moment. All the processors I've been showing you previously are for desktop computers, not laptops. They can run faster because they have more airflow and they're larger. So it's kind of unfair to completely compare this to what we saw before, but the speed is speed. So this is a 3700. The computer lab computers were like 7,000 or 8,000. My computer's like a 9,000. We saw a 17,000, and then we saw on that Ryzen CPU was a 20,000. This is a very slow CPU. Now, I wouldn't think too much if someone brought me their computer they've had for 3 years and that was their CPU. It's 3 years old. But if you're buying a brand new laptop and you're buying something that slow, again, budget is always a factor. I know people don't have unlimited budgets, but they're going to be unhappy with a processor that slow. Let's look at some of the other differences in it. It had system memory or RAM 4 gigabytes. Like I told you, I wouldn't buy a brand new computer with only 4. I'd get at least 8. And then the hard drive capacity. Now it is a solid, well, actually it is a solid state. Let's confirm that this is a solid state drive. I think it would be, but let's make sure. Yes, solid state drive, but it's only 128. That's great if you're just doing browsing web, but if you're going to be storing any kind of photos, music, definitely videos, just understand one thing too. Windows, and if you put Office like Word and Excel, it will take over half of that just for Windows and Office. So 128 sounds like a lot, but half that will be gone just by the operating system. Ironically enough, it will use up a lot of that. So if someone came to me and said, should I buy this? I'd look at the CPU, I'd look at the 4 gigs of RAM, and I'd look at the hard drive. It is solid state. That's great. I would never buy a computer under any circumstances that did not have a solid state hard drive in it. They're just too slow. You saw how cheap some of those drives were, $40. So out of the entire price, that's only costing them $40 to add the solid state. Definitely don't spend your money on something that's not. Now let's compare to that $699. Now I'm not saying you need to spend $699 on a computer. Obviously there's probably a middle ground here, but this one is let's see. This is an i5. Again, not good enough. I want to know the actual product number. So let's scroll down to the specifications. Did I miss it? Where did they go? Specifications. All right, this processor is a i5-8250. Let's look that one up. Now, don't expect this to be 17,000 or 10,000, but remember the other one was what I just forgot already. Was it 3700? Let's just compare it to that one alone. So 3700 compared to 7675. It is literally almost twice as fast on the CPU. It has 4 cores, and so it's almost twice as fast. Now, granted, it's twice as expensive. I think a little over twice as expensive. Yeah, it's over twice, so that's fair for it to be twice as expensive. 8 gigs, that's where I'd like to see that minimum memory, and it has 256 gigs solid state, and I think that's where, again, that's the size I put in the school lab. I think that's a good starting point for solid state drives as well. This was also a touchscreen. Again, I think these are secondary features. Once you've picked out maybe 3 or 4 that all kind of meet the hardware specs, then you can figure out which one types the best and has the nicest screen and the touchscreen. So basically, my point in all this is you get what you pay for. If you spend $299, you will be on a very slow processor. Remember the 4 gigs. Okay, let me put in terms that'll maybe make more sense. Right now I have Chrome open. My Chrome is using close to 4 gigs by itself. Remember we talked about the memory? If you add up 600, 500, 500, 300, 350, down here 200, 250, that's probably almost 2 or 3 gigabytes just for Chrome. When you browse the web, it uses a lot of memory. I don't know why. I really don't. They're just not very efficient. But if you were to buy this computer, remember virtual memory, virtual memory swap files? When that 4 gig is up, it won't say stop using any programs. It'll just continue working, but it'll dump all that extra memory onto the hard drive, which is, yes, it is a solid state, but it's still hundreds of times slower. So you will be constantly using a swap file, and when you're actually using the CPU, it'll be using a CPU that's half the speed of this one. Okay? So these are just they're minimum computers, which again, if that's your budget, then that's fine. You have to use a computer, then you have to get that. Again, I don't even know if any of y'all are buying a computer recently, but students always are asking me, what should I buy for college? Okay, $219. Oh, this makes me cringe because I just know that they're not going to be happy in a year with this computer. It has 4 gigs. You say, wow, 500. Okay, for some reason we lost our network. So I guess that's a good way of saying video is going to be over. But I think that's a good demonstration of prices when you're shopping for computers. Look at the processor, find a website that will give you a benchmark of how fast it is. Number 2, look at the solid state hard drive. How big is it? Hopefully 256 or more. Because like you said, when you see the individual component prices, it's only like $50, $60 for that drive. Why would you get a 128 terabyte, 128 gig drive when you get double that size, and they only cost them, $15 more? And then the memory around 8 gigs. So just a little bit of, oh, there we got back. So I guess the video can continue. No, really, I'm gonna stop here. But the only thing I want to look up is this CPU. I want to see how slow the CPU is. For $219, they are sacrificing something. And one thing that they do not mention anywhere on the drive is that it's solid state. So this is not a solid state hard drive. It is a slow. Do you remember the little chart where we showed the speeds of the one was 100 something, one was 500 something, one was 2500? So yeah, you're going to get that slowest hard drive. This CPU is going to be a 5405U. Let's see how fast that, and then we'll stop after this video. So let's see if it can beat the 3600 from the $299 computer. And it is a score of, it's a little bit slower. So it's a little bit slower than the $299, which tells you something. Then this is the same, roughly the same speed as that one that's $299. What's different is that this is not a solid state hard drive, where this one is. So a little bit of buyer's guide, a little shopping, seeing some of the component prices, seeing how you can go to any store. What's nice is you can go to Best Buy, take your phone out, find the product, find the CPU score, and kind of just be smart about what you're buying. Not just look at what has the nicest screen on it. Is there what would be my recommendation? This is a 256 8 gig i5. That would be a great machine. All else being similar, yeah, these are great, but these probably have M.2 drives and high-end CPUs and 16 gigs. You don't need this for school and college. You really don't. 309, yeah, it's just slightly too little RAM, too little solid state for me to recommend that. If I could find one and this is where sales are great. If you can find one that's on sale that would normally be a $500 computer for, $419, that's what you really want to find is a sale. And these are just not, I'm not really impressed with. I mean, these are fine, but if you don't want to spend that much money, if you can find one that's on sale for, find one of those. If you can find this on like a Black Friday thing after Thanksgiving sale, that's $499. That's what you want to get. There's that Ryzen CPU that's fast, 8 gigs, 256. That one on sale would be a great computer. So you can kind of see how I shop. I look at those first. This one does have a smaller screen in it, so most people actually like a little smaller screen because it means it's more lightweight and lighter and easier to carry around. So a little quick buyer's guide to focusing. Like I said, I'm focusing on CPU, memory, and hard drive because that's what we just finished discussing in our discussion of the operating system. So I kind of bundle those concepts together so we can learn about what it's doing behind the scenes. But on the more practical side, when you go to purchase something, now you can hopefully shop a little smarter when you look at computers.